With many commanders and artifacts constantly releasing in Call of Dragons, it is important for you to eventually pick a troop type that you want to main and focus on to max their commanders and their artifacts. So stick around in this video as we're going to have a discussion on which troop type you should main and what the criteria you should aim for when selecting that troop type. What is up guys, MEOWER here back with a brand new Call of Dragons video. Before we get started, I got asked a quick question earlier today on my Discord regarding of which troop type we should main, which kind of inspired me to do this video. Maining troops in Call of Dragons is eventually gonna be a priority because over time, when they add more commanders and such as the new cavalry commanders and they had archer commanders and so on and so forth, eventually you're gonna be able to field at least 3 or more marches of the same troop type, resulting in you having to sort of select a troop type that you want to main in order to maximize your account growth and not fall behind on something that you feel like you're not being able to keep up. Because let's face it, for the most average of players, they're not going to be able to max out every single commander that comes out, whether if it's from a cavalry commander, infantry commander, archers, mages, etc., etc. So there's just so many options in Call of Dragons, which is also a good thing in the game because it offers a lot of diversity. Having a lot of diversity in your choices helps the player select something they feel more comfortable on and have feel like they have a role they have to fill. For example, mages are the skill-based, control-based type of troop types, where archers are raw DPS, infantry are the frontline main bulk of the fighting force, and cavalry, of course, are the flanking, nuking type of marches. So every troop type in Call of Dragons has its own niche and has its own uses, so you'll never really feel useless if you select a march that you want to main. Which brings me to this point. Of course, a little quick reminder to subscribe. We're super close to 2,000 subscribers and 200 members on my Discord and the channel, so I feel like it will be an amazing milestone to eventually hit, and it will really appreciate you subscribing or joining the Discord so that we can eventually hit that milestone and maybe get a giveaway rolling after we reach that milestone. That being said, let's get started. So, when you're maining a troop type in Call of Dragons, you have to keep 3 key factors in mind. The first factor is what kind of commanders do you have for that troop type. For example, I am basically leaning towards maining archers, so I'm working. I awaken my Nico, I awaken my Kanara, I awaken my Hosk, and eventually I'll awaken my Frhagar, and I might even awaken my Syndrome as well, even though I'm not a personal fan of him, but he has his uses, especially if I want to be an archer main, I'm going to be needing at least 3 archer marches. And of course, my Nico, I'll be pairing him with Thea, which is the one I'm working on right now. So it's all resulting in a single goal of me wanting to main a single troop type, which also means that I should focus on a certain type of artifacts, making it less expensive and feel less pressure to, for example, try to get Infernal Flame, try to get this one, try to get Spring Blades, etc., etc. I didn't go for Ravel Spear though, sadly. I don't remember what I did back then, but I didn't go for it. Sadly, I should have gone for it because it's one of the best, if not the current best, archer artifact right now. The amount of nuke it has, the amount of damage penetration utility, etc., etc., etc. But that will be the topic for a different video. Um, in general, maining or selecting a troop type to main kind of relieves a lot of stress a lot of players tend to have to try to max everything. Of course, you can eventually max everything, but when you're focused on a single thing, you feel less pressured and less obligated to feel like you're falling behind. So, for example, the next 2 commanders that are coming out that have already been confirmed, Theodore and Frondrel, are going to be cavalry commanders. So, if you're into cavalry players such as myself, you don't feel obligated to max them. Of course, there are sometimes some outliners that are extremely OP, but judging from the commander types that we've been seeing so far, none of them are still that big of a meta shakers, of course, with the exception of Kanara, which has been absolutely amazing for the Archer roster and has been an absolute menace when used correctly and paired correctly on the open field. But that is only one commander out of so many that have been releasing so far in the past few months in Call of Dragons, making it so the developers have not really pushed the gas on making some OP commanders, at least not yet, of course. So there is less obligation for you to max out everything. So the second criteria for you to select a troop type that you want to max is what commanders you have available for that troop type and what are your options. Some troop types need some core commanders, such as mages. They need at least Lilia or Velen as their core that you can build around. You can have 2 marches after that. You can have 3, but I don't think you can run more than 3 safely. At least 3 mage marches, because well, you have Velen, you have Voldir, you have Alwyn, you have Atheist, and you have yeah, you have basically 4 that can be obtained free to play, making it very enticing to go for mages as a free to play player, or even as a pay to win player. If you eventually get Lilia, you can run 3 mage marches after that because you can add in Thea and Atheist as your flying celestial march, and then you can pair up Lilia, Velen, Waldir, or Alwyn, or whatever you want to go as your pairings. If you're trying to main archers, for example, you need Kanara. Kanara is a core in the Archer March, and so is Husk, because right now they are the meta. Husk Kanara is the best Archer March performing in the open field by far, while you need other types of commanders as well to support at least 2 or 3 marches or above in order to really call yourself a type of troop main. The infantry, you need Madeline, no questions asked. You could also have Nika and Garwood, but your core will always be Madeline. As for cavalry right now, you don't really have any other options other than Bakshi Emrys. So cavalry right now are not really the go-to for maining, but maybe after when Frondrel and Theodore come out, you'll have more options in order to main cavalry. So what I want to reach is that you need at least two marches of the same troop type in order to consider yourself a main of that troop type, and as well as having the core artifacts. There are core artifacts for every single troops and every single marches. For cavalry, it's Spring Blades and Kingslayer. For archers, Valor Spear, Shadow Blades, Gold Crest. It has so many options. For mages, Phoenix Eye, of course, Breath of Gigantus, and Infernal Flame. And for infantry, you'll probably be needing the most dragon scale armor and Greymare's Warhammer. I think that's what it's called. Where is it? Oh yeah, Greymar's Warhammer. So you need like the core artifacts in order to consider yourself a main of a single troop type, in order to really invest in that troop type and really go far for your account, as it's always better for your account to focus on a single thing and not be a jack of all trade, masters of none, because that is basically what a whale is or what a kraken is, because it tends to get too expensive. So just to recap, my point is that when you wanna be in a troop type, you should consider those 3 factors: your technology on that troop type, or the faction you're in. Right now, I'm in Wilderberg, so Wilderberg is by far the best archer faction. The commanders you have for that troop type that you want to max, how the skill is, and whether if you really want to invest in them to save heads on other stuff, and of course the artifacts. Artifacts, I believe, is the biggest factor in maining a troop, because artifacts are extremely impactful in Call of Dragons because of the stats, because of the actives, because of so many factors you have to keep in mind when it comes to those artifacts. So I really hope this video helps you formulate an opinion when you're selecting a troop type to main. If you like content like this, please be sure to drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Join our Discord. Meow meow.